fighter pilots, you have to hit your targets and manage the risks. There's a lot of risks and make this. So you have to be, on one hand, adventurous, on the other hand, you will be conservative. If you're not conservative, you could die, and same with the business. So you have to balance between being adventurous and then being responsible.
I am so excited about this week's episode. It's not just the first time that we recorded it in another country besides China and Germany, in Israel. It is also a guest that has such an interesting background and so many interesting and amazing stories to tell. Amir is the father of my good friend Russ, who also produces videos in China. He lives in Beijing, and that's where we met. He served as a combat pilot in the Israeli Airforce for 24 years and is now a private entrepreneur and venture capital investor with his main investments in China. His company manages 23 funds with more than 1.5 billion US dollars in assets. So this time when I came to Israel, to Tel Aviv, I had to meet him and talk to him and let him share his stories and insights. Today we will talk about why Israel is such a great country for startups, what recommendations Amir has for young people just starting out their career, and what his view on Germany is. Also a very interesting point of view. For our German-speaking listeners, a little recommendation for next week's podcast. Table tennis superstar Timo Boll is back in the house. Next week's episode will feature him and another great guest. More details and a small preview after the talk with Amir. Stay tuned till the end.
Made in China. Von der Werkbank der Welt zum größten Konsumentenmarkt und Technologieführer. Eine Reise durch das Leben, Business und die Kultur im Reich der Mitte mit Damian Maib und Thomas Derksen.
So this will be one of the most interesting talks I think we have in our podcast history, because it's the first time that I do it in a country outside of China and outside of Germany. So normally we talk about China and Germany, but today we have a very interesting guest that is totally different to all the other guests we have. I met him through his son, Russ Galore, and we met in China, in Hangzhou, but he lives in Beijing and comes from Israel. So Amir Galore is my guest today, and I'm very happy to be here because today is Shabbat. I'm in Tel Aviv right now, and it's my first time to come to Israel and also my first time to get a glimpse into Jewish culture. So I'm very, very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to hear your stories, Amir.
Wow. So it's a great honor for me to speak in your podcast, and it's really a special topic. So I'm all yours.
So let's talk about Israel first. It's my first time to come to Israel. You were born in Israel, right? And you have been living here, but also abroad for a lot of time. And living abroad, this is also something we want to talk about later, because living abroad gives you a different perspective to your own home country. For me, it's the same. Living in China gives me a different perspective on Germany. So as an Israeli living abroad for such a long time, what is your view on your country? Like, how can you describe Israel to someone who has never been here, like me, like 3 days before?
Well, I think it's a great point, because I lived outside of Israel also when I was, in my childhood. We lived in the U.S. twice because my parents, professors in the Technion. We lived overseas, and then, of course, the Chinese 13 years living outside and looking at Israel. I think when you're outside, you appreciate your country more than when you live in it.
That's right.
That's the key point. You see the good side, because when you live in your own country, you always see problems and tensions in media. And when you're outside, it's good memories, and you appreciate history, culture. You see how much people really appreciate who you are. At the same time, it makes your identity stronger. It makes you more Israeli or more Jewish because you see how foreign you are in the foreign area.
Yeah.
So you cannot just say, okay, so, I'm a globalist. I'm part of the citizens of the world. It's not like that. People, they identify with their country, or at least they make you feel you're different. So you appreciate your own country more. How would I describe Israel to others? I first will say, in a short sentence, it's the most complex place in the world. I think I've been everywhere. It's just too complex. So I think almost all countries have a misconception about Israel from some part of it. Because if you look at it from a religious point of view, it's very complicated since it's a Jewish state, but it has Christianity inside it, and you have the Muslims. It's kind of a mix of everything. And then you have Jerusalem, which is all the holy places in one place.
Where I went yesterday.
Small. Yeah, you went yesterday.
Amazing experience.
Yes, and you felt the special energy, right?
Yes,
the special vibe.
Yeah. So, as you said, like so many people from so many countries, from different religions, and even me, we talked about it during our Shabbat dinner, the Jerusalem syndrome, that you feel some kind of power or magic or God or however you want to call it in this place.
Exactly. And that happens when you look at it from the religious point of view with the tension, and all the world is talking about this very, very tiny place, but it could create a huge risk to the whole world, and that's why people focus on it. If you look at it from the economical business point of view, so Israel is classified under innovation, invention, Nobel Prize winners, all this legacy around that, and that's very significant because very large innovative companies have been created here and big inventions all across science, and that gives Israel an ability to present itself in a very positive way, not about security, military, but about contributing to the world, which is part of what's written in the Bible. It says, "Mitzion titzeh Torah." So you have to spread your ideas and thinking. And this has been done through, especially in the recent years, by innovation, which is the real flag of what Israel is trying to show out. If you look at it from the geopolitical defense point of view, there is always about the conflicts. The conflicts, young country, but old history of conflicts. Many wars around here, the ongoing conflicts, which is almost like a civilization conflict. It's also religious background and territory issues. So somehow this never leaves us. And the good thing about it when we present in Israel, that living in a conflict and ongoing, I would say, edgy situation makes you alert, makes you more innovative, try harder, live faster pace, and it has its good side. Of course, the instability that comes with it is a challenge. So I just gave you 3 points of view about the country, but it's actually much more complex than that. Even by weather-wise, in a very small country in the north, you have snow and green. In the south, it's not only the desert, it's the Dead Sea, the Red Sea, in a very short place. And the number of stories about every piece of land here is just unbelievable. So if you want to visit the most complex country in the world, come to Israel.
Yeah, I'm very sure that there you can fill a lot of libraries with books about Israel. We don't have the time to talk in the 30 to 45 podcast with a focus on business. So let's talk a little bit about the business. As you said, it's a small country, but the businesses are really successful. So what is the reason for that? Is it the education? Is it maybe this whole complexity that makes you say we have to be unique, we have to be strong in one field to at least make money to protect us? So why is it that especially innovative startups are so successful in Israel? What is the environment here like?
I will mention 3 elements that I really believe in. There are more elements that created this. The first one is the fact that people come here from different cultures. It's called Israel, it's called Jewish people, actually from all over the world. world. You have here, huge contribution coming from ex-Soviet Union, from Russia scientists, and you have Australians, American, Middle East, even from Africa, Europe, of course. So you have from every country, you have people here. And the fact that it's so diverse, it gives you different points of view on the same issue. It's not like everybody thinks the same and be systematic. It creates a chaos, but it also becomes extremely innovative and vibrant, these different cultures. The second reason is military. The fact that Israel was under embargo to get weapons, and everybody is drafted, and you take the best people also to the special units to develop solutions to the ongoing challenges. And the fact that everybody has to work in a team from a young age and just be in real life situations, come with answers, develop new things, new solution. And then all this know-how goes for free for your career after the military. So it's like a machine that trains you, gives you experience, record, and know-how, and then you can take it to the civil life. Now, that's created a lot of companies from defense or even the line of thinking, created innovation. The third reason I would mention is the fact that you're fighting for your life. Actually, you always feel that, somebody is chasing you. The power for invention, business, moving forward is when somebody chases you. If you are relaxed on the beach, whether in the south or even you don't care, you feel good, you just get lazy. So these are three reasons. There are more reasons related to the Jewish education. They educate you to ask questions and to challenge in a polite way, but always challenge. It's a part of the study, the way you study. It's not like in China that you have to memorize or you have to obey. You have to understand and challenge. And this creates new inventions, new ideas.
So the second reason you mentioned already led to my next question. I want to talk a little bit about your career path. You are also the only fighter jet pilot in our podcast. So you worked for the Israeli military for a long time, 16 years, right?
Actually more, because most of the time I was the reserves. I was 7.5 years full time. I did not work. It's called served. It's like volunteering actually in many ways, but it was 7.5 full time. And then up to 24 years in reserves. I was flying mostly F-16s, F-4s, A-4s, aerobatic teams. Just lived the Air Force life. It was an amazing life, but of course very hectic and including confrontations. It's part of serving the country.
So what was the feeling like flying a fighter jet for the first time on your own?
I always think it's the best feeling ever. Maybe also because I was young and that's like an overwhelming experience.
Even better than the feeling you fell in love with your wife? Or I hope she's not,
this is a public podcast. It's a public podcast. Okay. It will be very dramatic. I think it's not possible to compare it to anything in terms of the short time this adrenaline level comes up to you. It's not a slow move like you have about feelings or about your profession, which can build up. This is on off very quickly, and you have to manage the risk in all the time. Yeah.
So after your career as a pilot, what were the next career steps, and what led you to China eventually?
Well, for me, I was always attracted to entrepreneurship. I don't know why. It's probably something in me. I like to, in one way, be institutionalized, be part of something big and strong, but at the same time be a rebel and challenge whatever exists, try to do things differently and better. So I was immediately after military, I focused on small business, moved to technology, high tech, which is Israel advantage. The fact I lived in the US helped me to feel confident working with US. So very quickly I shifted to building my own company. then venture capital, focus on U.S., Israel, building relationship, understanding the dynamic of building a company through my own experience, through others' people. And the Air Force background and English helped me open doors. So I just opened them. And one thing led to another. We created funds, companies. The shift to China happened in 2002-3 when our partnership decided that we should give added value to our portfolio companies. And one way to do it is look east. And we analyzed 3 markets. It was India, Russia, and China. I had also my brother was there before me, and he just opened me some doors. And I convinced our investors, our partners, let's do the next move in China. And when we did our first steps with like incubator and first investments, we were very lucky in the beginning. Everything went, it was a good timing, you have to have a good timing.
Yeah.
2003, 2004. We felt there are new kind of regulations coming out, support for what is called venture capital, which was not known before that in China, in this kind of structure. And they gave us in China to be the first GPLP structure, which is the fund structure. It was just not allowed before. You had to be an investment company. You cannot be a fund. And we were the first one, and we had a great first case that also eventually went IPO in the Shanghai market. So you need some luck along with the right timing, focus. And from that, we built many more funds, RMB funds in different cities in China. And now, because I moved with a family to Beijing, this is how we eventually met Russ and created his own company. So he continues the legacy of entrepreneurship and added a new dimension, which is social media. We usually focus on technology, but in this case, we did also media. And also, his brother is working more on the tech side. And we keep the legacy of creating entrepreneurship cross-border, cross-culture.
Yeah, for the ones who don't know, I'm doing social media in China, and Russ, he's also doing videos, like a different style of videos than I do, but we both met actually at a TV show. We both hated, and we said, okay, we don't want to go to TV anymore. Let's do our own videos. And that's what we did. And then Russ did it on a much bigger scale than I did. And for me, it was always family business. But for him, it was also family business with investment from his father. So when you talk about your business model in China, can you explain it a little bit for someone who's not an expert as I am? So what is so your company called
Infinity. Yeah, Infinity is a chain of funds.
Okay.
And the way we do it is we look for Israeli companies that can add value to Chinese companies and then invest in the Chinese companies with Israeli added value, or Israeli companies that really work on the Chinese market. And we create either a group to invest together, or we invest in exchange for equity, for ownership in the company, aiming for financial returns, which usually comes from either IPO, listing in the public markets, or selling the company. Sometimes it could be dividends. So in the end, it's financial play, but behind it is a cross-border technology cooperation. And we are focusing on getting better and better in that. It's not easy once, regulation change, and there is now geopolitics issues. There's also, China is becoming more focused on its own technology. So you have to adapt.
So, and if I'm informed right, you also have different funds in different places, like for every big city or major place, you have your own funds, right?
Yeah, because we partner with the local city. They gave money to investment in their own city. We bring some money from overseas and some local business people and build a team for that specific city. And we just build it all across China.
So what are things that you learned from your fighter pilot career to your investment career?
In some aspect, I think it's very similar. When I say that, people, they lift their eyebrows. What do you mean? What's the connection? It sounds like not connected. But actually, it's similar. I would focus similarity on a few points. Number one, both of them are managing risk. Fighter pilots, you have to hit your targets and manage the risk. There's a lot of risk and make decisions. So you have to be, on one hand, adventurous, and on the other hand, you may be conservative. If you're not conservative, you could die, and same with the business. So you have to balance between being adventurous and then being responsible. How to play these two. It's an art. It's not a science. So that's one thing. It's similar. The second thing is, I call it making decision in an uncertain environment. Because in startups and in venture capital and also in China, you have to make decisions without knowing all the information, and you are kind of something gambling on what's going to happen on different fronts, not only on the tech side and the markets. That you have to gamble on the policies, you have to gamble on people, how they will behave, your competitors. There is a lot of missing information. When you fly F-16, believe me, a lot of things you don't know. You don't know who exactly is in the air, what is their angle, what do they carry, what are the temperatures, the airplane capability under a certain mechanical situation. It's complicated. So from my point of view, making decision and the key, whether you make decision on how to fly, how to organize your other airplanes, and how to organize your team to fight against other competitors in new markets, it's not so different.
So you, as an entrepreneur, you met a lot of people, successful and unsuccessful. You saw a lot of companies coming and going. You did a lot of investments. We have quite some young people listening to our podcast. Is there one or two pieces of advice you can give to young people regarding their career, whether it is a corporate career or an entrepreneurial career? Is there some bits of wisdom you can share with them?
Well, first of all, you're touching a very sensitive point now. We didn't have a chance to talk about it, but we are building now a new company internally that is kind of using AI plus our experience in choosing people by different questionnaires and personality questionnaires and mixing it with a DNA kind of whole genome sequencing. And we're looking for people's strengths and then guiding them based on all our AI, to what career paths they should take. Also, what people they should partner in life, whether it's on a personal level, business level, what hobbies to go forward, what can fulfill them. It's kind of a decision support system for life based on this data. And the whole philosophy behind it is focus on your strengths. Find what you're strong at. It's part of it is genetic, but part of it is your subjective thinking, and some of it is your personality. Combine them together, ask the right questions. You have to know how to ask the questions. And then you can be given some recommendations of what to do and what bothers you. Check it, see if it's right, continue. But I feel that too many people now, especially in the last few years, from many reasons I can say why, people are actually confused what to do. There's too many possibilities, and there is also some crises. The decisions they have to make used to be simple, okay, who do I marry, which job I go. But people change jobs, change countries, change spouses. There's too many options, and just people get confused. They don't know if they make the right decision. And I'm telling them, okay, you have to make decisions based on your strengths. Don't look at your weaknesses, because weaknesses is usually solved by teamwork, by covering one on another. Don't focus on your weakness, and not only focus on your strengths, learn how to identify them very clearly. You cannot say I'm good in music or I'm good in math. Okay, you have to be very clear what in math and how does it manifest itself in real life. When you do that, you will know where to go. So this is actually, I work on it a lot recently with Amir, and I believe it's an amazing topic for us. And whoever is interested, we are helping our people, guiding them. So if some of the listeners wants to go through this process, eventually they'll have to have a questionnaires, tests, genetics, and we will give them answers.
So DNA and IA will decide about their career path or help you, guide you.
Yes, what we say, it's a combination between potential, which is more the DNA, subjective, it's what you think about yourself. There's all different questions, and something more deterministic, like your personality type. So between these three, if you give it to the right AI in the right structure, it will tell you where you're strong at.
Crazy times you're living in. So you have been working with China for decades and also living in the US. Is there anything that you say that the business world can learn from China? We already talked about Israel, but is there anything you said in the 13 years? These are things the Chinese do right when it comes to business.
Yeah, I think that actually Chinese has some things that are the best in the world. I define it first as they know how to work in a teamwork in a harmonious way. Israelis know how to work in a team in a conflictive, innovative way, but Chinese know how to work harmoniously. And when you work harmoniously, it's actually giving added value to the others based on the target, not conflicting with another. This makes companies efficient. And actually, like, everywhere's like laser. They're all complementing each other to one target. So I really appreciate this in China society and China business world. The second thing I believe Chinese people can learn from China is understanding what's important when it comes to execution. They do the right priority based on one target. When it's becoming too complicated, not. When it's becoming political, not. But if it's just like a line, well, it's not only a manufacturing line, also a line of decisions, they will know to put the right priorities in the right time.
And is there, on the other hand, something where you say the Chinese have to learn it from Europe or from the US or from Israel, that you wish the Chinese would learn from the business world outside of China?
Yeah, I think China has a major structural issue in the culture, in the system, because it's a top-down culture. And I believe that real innovation and, good things happen when it's bottom-up, not when it's top-down. And the top-down works well when things are relatively stable, no mistakes. But if you make a mistake from top-down, you cannot fix it. When it's bottom-up, there is a lot of ways to fix it and self-heal. So I prefer China to become more balanced in this top-down, bottom-up.
So if you would have like $1 million US to invest in 3 Chinese industries, very broad, like 33,000 and so on in this number 1, number 2, and number 3. And you would get your money back in 10 years. What do you think? What are the most key industries in the next 10 years for China where you would invest your money?
Yeah, one of them is quite obvious because it's already proven, is the whole world of EV, or, even autonomous cars, vehicles, buses, airplanes. In this area I think it's quite clear that China will be the main. You just have to pick up the right winners in this industry. So that's obvious. I would go. The second place I would go to some automatization. It could be robotic. It could be around the issue of high-end industrial lines that are scalable. I think China has, like Germany, actually. It's a new Germany in some aspects because it's a little bit more vibrant. So I would look at what was very successful in Germany and invest in that in China because it might be better in some aspects.
Yeah.
So that's the second. The last thing, if I invest, I think I would invest in your business, but in a different way. It's the culture related. So it could be some related to the movie industry, that China will want to develop its own high-end effects on culture with its visual content. I will hedge a little bit by doing that.
That's also a tough and risky business, media business in China.
It is tough and high risk. I would say that you have to involve AI in it, artificial intelligence, which in general in China will be good at it, but I think it will be difficult for it to be the best in the world, but it could vertically implement it much better. But when I say media, you should remember I also refer to companies like what's called TikTok, ByteDance, actually. You can see you can become number one in the world.
Yeah,
you're
crazy.
using content. It doesn't mean that you have to stay in the Chinese market, but it's a Chinese company that becomes to be global, and it's doing content using AI.
You also already mentioned Germany. As an Israeli living in Israel and traveling to China, living abroad for a long time, what is your view on Germany? What do you think we can keep our strength in the next decade, maybe as an automobile and industry nation, because we're heavily related on this old traditional industries? Do you think we can make the shift to the new modern industries?
I'm not an expert, but I will say my distance view. I think, first of all, what Germany is good at, it will always be good at, even though it will have competition from China and other countries. So you have to keep up what you're strong at, and this is like heavy industry or sophisticated industry or vertical industries that are more executing. There will be a need for it. I think that if you move to the robotic world, the automation world, there is a whole new fronts opening up, and Germany could just adopt to that. The world eventually will be operated by machines, automatic machines, autonomous. The thing that I find missing in Germany, and I always surprised why the country is not doing something more aggressively to it, is trying to take higher risk, be less conservative when it comes to innovation, and try to get out of the comfort zone and be more open to other cultures. I always felt that Germans want to work with Germans, and they want to stick to what they know and conservative. And this, if you twist that by a little opening up, a little more higher risk, get the government to subsidize that risk, because naturally the culture will not let you people will not take the risk. But if it's paid and encouraged from the government point of view, I think they can. It cannot be done in a small way. It has to be a major concept change.
We have a lot of German company owners or people who work for German companies in China that complain, or they tell us about challenges on the Chinese market. Do you see it the same with the Israeli companies? Because you are also involved in the Israeli Chamber of Commerce in China. What are the major challenges they face on the Chinese market? Yeah.
Well, I think that the biggest realistic challenge is finding the right partner and helping the right due diligence, how to structure the partnership. The chances to succeed totally alone is very rare. It's not impossible, but you have to not only find the right partner, structure the right partnership, and go to the right process. I think Israelis have a tendency to try and error, so they will just think to count on themselves. They try something. Germans will be much more methodologies way, they will structure the way. Israelis will be wild. And I think that's a mistake. If the government want to help, it needs to help by creating a mechanism how to find partners and structure the deals.
For Germany, it's very clear that German car brands are very successful in China. What are Israeli companies or brands that are the most successful in China?
The big difference between Israel and Germany in that sense, Germany has brands. You come with so many brands, consumer brands, industrial brands. And Israel is more about invention, is more Intel inside. It's inside the product. It's more B2B. There are some, small brands that exist from I don't know, in the cosmetic area.
Skincare, right? In your office in Beijing, there's a skincare company, right?
There is a skincare, and there are not only skin, but also some tech about aesthetic and beauty that was bought by Chinese companies. Eventually, Israelis sell themselves. Israel has a strong brand in cyber, but it's sensitive in this whole area because there are many cyber-related companies. There are also some related to agriculture, irrigation company, the biggest in the world. But it's very different from Germany that can rely on local market plus brand. Israel doesn't have a local market and don't have much brands because the more B2B enablers kind of thinking. So it's difficult to compare the two. The problem that Israel has in China specifically is to improve its success rate. The success rate is not high. People are looking for short-term profit. They don't think long-term. They are less conservative. So there's a price for that.
So you lived in China with your whole family. You have 4 children and you took them and your wife to China. What were the challenges? I mean, like having 4 children in Israel or in your home country is already a challenge to make, to educate them, to make them good people, to make them learn values. But abroad, it's an even bigger challenge, right? I saw your TED talk talking about it. Can you summarize maybe what it was like raising your 4 children and also taking care of your wife and your family and being a successful business owner at the same time?
Well, as I said before, my profession is to balance between the adventure and the responsibility. So you just define the question that reflects that. It's an adventure, and it has risks, and you have to be responsible to find the right balance. I think I achieved it. You have to do things not fast. You have to be sensitive to the needs of everybody, spend more money, not save money when it comes to the family and to the environment you live in, because you have to compensate for their social, soft landing they have in their own country. Always there is a price to pay for that. But the upside is quite high because you learn new cultures, new line of thinkings, new everything. And so you have more skill set for your life. So I hope my children eventually will look back and say, wow, we got more skill set than, we suffered from being foreign.
So as a last question, 5-year plans are very popular in China, right? So when you think of the next 5 years, when you think of the year 2028, are you optimistic or pessimistic or both?
If you have to classify, I'm both. I'm pessimistic because I think that the coming years are going to just be a continuation of the last 3 years, which is ongoing challenges. We are shifting the big debt cycle, the debt of countries, the fact that there is no one country now that is dominant, there are few countries dominant, this change of powers, the nationalism that goes up everywhere, too many conflicts comes out, there's international organizations are weak. It's not going to be so stable. At least what you said in the next 5 years. I'm optimistic because I really like some of the new tech developments from the AI, from even, the new devices that are going to come out, from the cars, from entertainment, or the innovation will save the world. So if you have to choose about yourself, what to do, I think you have to, first of all, look at your own strengths. As I said, we develop that. It's personalized. You cannot everybody go to the same thing because it doesn't fit you. If it doesn't fit your strengths, don't go there. And remember that going forward, less and less people will be able to do things that machines cannot do or automatic structures cannot do. So you have to be much more careful what you choose. Otherwise, most of the people eventually will be dealing with lifestyle. It's not bad. Tourism, hosting, physical therapy. There's so many things that only people can do, but it's not about the high end. It's about, good vibe, good social issues. So if you want to participate in the higher end, you have to not make too many mistakes. You don't have too much time. So some industries are going to be great, some not. don't make too much mistakes. Prepare.
Innovation will save the world. What a great sentence for the ending of this podcast. Amir, thank you so much and toda. Yeah.
Toda lecha.
It was a great experience and I learned a lot and I'm sure our listeners did the same. Thank you so much again.
My pleasure.
We now say goodbye to our English-speaking listeners and say Hallo an unsere deutschsprachigen Zuhörer. I mean, everyone is welcome to stay. Ich war diese Woche zusammen mit Tischtennis-Superstar Timo Boll auf der All-in-Caravaning in Beijing und habe dort vor Ort mit ihm und Marius Berlemann von der Messe Düsseldorf-Shanghai einen Podcast aufgenommen. Wir hören mal kurz rein. So, auf jedem Campingplatz steht auch eine Tischtennisplatte, ne?
Das stimmt, ja. Also, ich kenne keinen Campingplatz, wo keine Platte steht. Das stimmt, ja.
Also, um das ganze Gespräch nicht zu verpassen, folgt uns auf LinkedIn und allen anderen Social-Media-Kanälen. Wir posten da noch mehr Insights und Behind-the-Scenes-Materialien. Also, LinkedIn, Made in China Podcast, auf jeden Fall folgen, liken und teilen. Und hinter mir hört man vielleicht das Gewitter aus Shanghai. Ich mache mich jetzt auf den Weg ins Büro zu Damian und wir hören uns nächste Woche aus Beijing.